Everybody, it's your girl Nell. How are you today? Welcome to Crocheting with Nell. And what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be crocheting or knitting or any other crafting that you would like to do. And while you're doing whatever it is that you love and listening to me chat, I am going to be crocheting. So today I am drinking tea. The tiny studio assistant has made some delicious tea for me, and I am drinking the combination of hyssop and hawthorn tea. That is simply delicious, and I'm drinking it on my treasured depression glass tea set, and I have a collection of 4. I love collecting depression glass. It is just so, they're just so beautiful, and they come in so many different colors. I just have that beautiful yellow that I just showed you, and I have some light pink depression glass. Um, um, I believe it's like a nice bowl. You could put fruit slices, or you could put yeah, fruit slices, because that's what I put inside of them. So I love depression glass. Whenever I am thrifting or going vintage shopping or antiquing or going into consignment stores, I always pick up depression glass because it's so cute and it's so beautiful. It's so stately and regal. And guess what? They're beautiful. So that's what I'm doing right now here in the tiny studio. I'm drinking tea, and I am just getting prepared to crochet and chat with you. So what are we going to be chatting about today? Well, what would you like for me to chat about? Last time we talked a little bit about books, but before we get into anything spectacular, I was watching something on television the other day. Oh, I know what it was. I was at the hospital. I was at the hospital with my husband. My husband has been ill. Well, he is ill, and he had a procedure done. And I was sitting in the waiting room. Well, while I was sitting in the waiting room, crocheting, trying to keep calm, an episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, which is a soap opera that comes on CBS, it happened to come on, and I was watching it intermediately while I'm listening to other things going on around me and praying for my husband. But I was watching a segment. Now, I don't know if you watch soap operas, but I was a huge soap opera watcher. And until I stopped around maybe 2002, maybe, I haven't really watched soap operas tough as I used to since maybe about 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. And I just happened to lose interest in them. But that's going to tie into what I'm talking about right now. I was crocheting. You know what? I'm getting ready to start talking. Why don't you go and grab your work, whether it be knitting or crocheting or needlepoint or whatever it is that you do? Why don't you go and get your work, and I'll grab up my project for today, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about soap operas and waiting rooms. All right, let me grab my work. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So today I am working on this granny lapgan. And I think the last time you saw this, I probably was working on this blue roll right here. And so now I have graduated, and now I am incorporating a little bit of this cranberry color into the Afghan. And I believe, well, no, it is a richer color than that fuchsia there, just a little darker. I hope that it shows up as cranberry onto the camera because that's the color that it is. It's cranberry. So I'm working on this week. And yes, I have been pacing myself as I crochet because remember, maybe about a few weeks ago, I had the knitter's elbow, and that was just really tough. And it kind of, what it did, it pushed back a lot of the projects that I was working on, and I'm playing catch up right now. But that was okay because I learned a valuable lesson. I learned that you have to pace yourself and you have to be patient. And for me, I just cannot crochet 24/7 nonstop anymore. I was doing it really tough, but I don't want to do that anymore because that was unhealthy. So I'm working on this lapgan, granny lapgan today, and this is what I was working on in the emergency, well, not the emergency room, the waiting room, as my husband had a procedure done in at the hospital. So anyhow, an episode of The Bold and the Beautiful came on. There was this guy named, I knew one of the characters, and that was Hope. And I knew her. Hope is Brooke Logan's daughter. And then the other guy that she was talking to, his name was Thomas. Now there have been so many different Thomases, but Thomas is Taylor and Ridge's son. And so anyhow, they were talking, and Hope said something crazy like, I still love Liam. Liam is my husband. I was like, oh Lord, are we still doing this love triangle mess? This love triangle mess with different characters, or sometimes the same character, which is Hope and Liam. I tell you, I used to watch soap operas really, really tough. And I've been watching soap operas for years. I more than likely was in my mother's tummy listening to soap operas. My mom's soap opera of choice was All My Children, and I believe that was the only soap that she watched. And if she watched any more, she watched ABC. My grandmother, the soap opera watcher, and she watched ABC, a combination of ABC and NBC soap. So she watched, oh, wow, I want to say she watched Days of Our Lives, and then she would switch over to Channel 7 or ABC because Days of Our Lives came on at 1, so she would catch that, and then from 2 to 4 she would watch ABC or Channel 7 soaps, and that would be One Life to Live and then General Hospital. So that's what I grew up watching. When my mom started watching daytime soaps, I was still watching. I was watching where she left off at. I picked up. So I watched All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. Those are my soaps. And then I will go to, I also watched, I want to say I watched Ryan's Hope. I also watched Port Charles. I watched, there's another one in there. I want to say Loving. I watched that. Um, As the World Turns. And then occasionally Another World. Um, so basically, I watched a lot of soaps. And I just enjoyed it because for me at the time, especially when I really started watching when I was a teenager, because I mean, like, who wasn't watching Angie and Jesse on All My Children? Who wasn't watching that? I mean, I think every teenager was watching that story because it was about teenagers and love. Like, who wasn't watching All My Children to see Luke and Laura and Scotty and Heather? I mean, who wasn't doing all of that? The Cassadines. Everybody was watching it because that was like must see TV, truly. But we knew it was, it was fictitious, and the more fictitious, the better. So I have a history of watching soap operas, but as soap operas and the genre of soap operas began to age, it seemed as if the storylines became, just ridiculous. And Bold and the Beautiful happens to be one of the soap operas where the writing just, to me, the writing is, writing sucks. Oh, I forgot to mention that I was also a huge Young and the Restless fan. So I started really watching the Young and the Restless in the 90s, maybe around 91, 92. And then I watched every soap opera I possibly could that I loved from, the 80s, and then the Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless in 92. And I watched all those soap operas until some of them were canceled, or until let's see, maybe the early 2000s. I mean, I had stopped watching All My Children at one point, and then I only watched One Life to Live, or General Hospital. um, at one point I watched only I only watched As the World Turns, Young and the Restless, One Life to Live. And then, here's another thing. And I worked, and so I had my VCR set to these stories. So on the weekends, I would just binge out on a week's worth of episodes of The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. But anyhow, as I was sitting there watching The Bold and Beautiful, and I really didn't know what was going on for the first 5 minutes, but after a while I got into it. And the thing that frustrates me the most, and the reason why I stopped watching soaps, is because I just feel like soap operas are insulting to the viewer's intelligence. And I just felt like if you want to, give me a storyline that I can truly follow and that doesn't insult my intelligence. That's the thing about soap operas. They do things and they write things because they think that their general viewing audience is dumb. And we're not. I mean, people from all walks of life watch soap operas. Soap operas are, supposed to be escapism, while manufacturers and advertisers sell the things that housewives desire and need, right? While that is, and that was the original premise for soap operas, is to sell soap products like dishwashing liquid, laundry detergent, body soap, all of those things, um, even though historically that's what soap operas were created for. You would think that manufacturers and advertisers and networks will understand that the people who are watching soap operas are not dumb. There are a lot of college students who used to watch soap operas, a lot of not just housewives, but career people. Like I said, I worked, so I had my VCR set to certain soap operas so that I could watch them on the weekend. So I just feel like the writers at some of these soap operas, they just do not cater to what people are going through or how they think in the real world. And that is the reason why reality TV became such a popular thing, and how it took over soap operas at the end of the day. Because if you're going to have drama, I'll take the real drama instead of this fake ridge, loves Taylor and Brooke type of thing. I mean, that love triangle. How long has The Bold and the Beautiful been on TV? I want to say almost 40 years. That Brooke, Taylor, Ridge love triangle, it's old and stale. You know? Ridge, make a choice already. Okay, forget you, Ridge. Ladies, make a choice already. The guy is a nut. He don't know who he wants. He needs to be by himself. You know? So now it looked to me as if The Bold and the Beautiful has this thing again, this love triangle with just another generation doing it. So you have Thomas, Hope, and Liam. And then you had Hope, Liam, and Steffi, which is uh Thomas's sister. You have all of that. I mean, come on, in the real world, no. We're not trying to do that. In the real world, somebody getting their butt kicked. Okay? In the real world, Taylor would have kicked Brooke's butt or vice versa, and that would have been it. At this point, 40 years into it, and we still fight over the same dude, then he ain't worth it. Right? Then he's not worth it. But these soap opera head writers and what have you, like I said, they just, they're catering to who? Certainly not their viewers. So I stopped watching I stopped watching soap operas around maybe 2000, maybe 2002 or 3. And I have been just really disenchanted with them. I had been just disenchanted. I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. You know, it was just, I didn't like it. And then they started canceling soaps. So you had All My Children being canceled. And then you had One Life to Live canceled. I think nowadays, what's on TV now? You still have General Hospital. You still have Days of Our Lives. You still have Young and the Restless. You still have The Bold and the Beautiful. But I'm thinking that I I think Days of Our Lives also has a what they call it, an offshoot, or a what am I thinking of? Anyhow, over on Paramount Plus, there is a spinoff. Days of Our Lives has a spinoff over on Paramount streaming, and it looked to be really interesting and good. But I'm not paying money to watch soap operas. I'm just not doing it. That's crazy. Why would I pay for something that I could get for free? Right? Why would I do that? I'm not going to be sitting over here on Paramount Plus watching Lisa Rinna when I can watch Lisa Rinna for free on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Or I could sit there and watch Lisa Rinna for free on Days of Our Lives if I chose to at 1 o'clock on NBC. So I don't know, but I stopped watching soap operas around the 2000s, and it was like a gradual type of thing. I would hit or miss. I might watch it on Monday, might not watch it again until Thursday. I might watch it on, Friday, and then, there's a Friday cliffhanger, and then I might not watch again for another 2 weeks. It started like that when I started really phasing out soap operas, because as I said, I'm a writer, I'm an artist, so I like to be entertained, yes, but I don't like to be insulted. And there were a lot of storylines on soap operas that were just insulting, that mind-boggling. It didn't make any sense. Now, General Hospital is a little different. I expect General Hospital's writing to be a little bit out there. They had this one soap that was like a spinoff of General Hospital called Port Charles. I loved that show. They had a vampire and everything. So, you kind of expect General Hospital to be a little out there, but these other soaps, no, you don't expect them to do that. They try to base themselves in family life and reality and things of that nature. And so that's what you expect those soaps to be. But, anyhow, I got tired of watching them. So I stopped watching. Then one day I realized I hadn't watched in a while. And I finally, after, 20 something years, I had finally stopped watching soap operas. And as we all know, soap operas, bit the dust due to, in part, reality TV. And everyone loves, a good reality TV show, whether it's The Bachelor, where American Idol, what's another one? Survivor, uh, Real World, the Real Housewives franchise. Um, I could go on. How about the Braxtons? Reality TV, 90 Day Fiance, all of those reality shows are just soap operas, basically, but they are real people supposedly living real lives. And as we know now, that a lot of reality TV is scripted TV. They're real people, but the drama is fake. So I'm thinking that very soon reality TV is getting ready to, you know, become obsolete. For that reason only, we're supposed to be watching reality TV for reality, and in actuality, we're getting just drama. Well, fake drama. Like what's that guy named Safaree from Love and Hip Hop New York? The other day, he said that the storyline that was on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood that he was a part of, and it had to do with him breaking up a couple named Lyric and A1. And it was like a big thing. It was like a big episode. Well, it was a big season when it became it became knowledge in the friend group that Safaree and Lyrica had an affair. And I'm guessing on a love and hip hop show called Where Are They Now, Lyrica was talking about that time period, how she was hurt and embarrassed and humiliated, and that it was that rumor was a lie. It wasn't true. She had not cheated on her husband. It was a big thing, and she talked about it. So Safaree went on Twitter and said that the whole story or the whole storyline was a fake, that he and Lyrica's husband, A1, came up with this fake storyline and they acted the hell out of it. And then he said, you know what, I'm sorry that, Lyrica got embarrassed. I'm sorry we put her through that. He said, but we really had fun doing it. So I know a lot of people were like, well, wait a minute, that whole storyline was a fake? So all of that yelling and hollering and screaming people were doing, and outrage that people were feeling, and I'm gonna punch your lights out, all the fighting and all of that stuff, you mean to tell me that was all fake? See, right there, reality TV is getting ready to become extinct, and people are getting ready to just throw in the towel because reality TV is not reality TV. Reality TV is just it's just a manufactured soap opera featuring real life people. That's it. And it's sad that it has really come to that, but that's the way it is. And soon people are going to, you know, soon people are going to reject reality TV, and that's going to be it. That's not something that I wish for, because there are some reality shows that I really like. Like I love the Love and Hip Hop franchise. My favorite one is well, it used to be my favorite Love and Hip Hop franchise was New York, but then they started changing everybody, changing all of the cast, and then I transferred over to Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. That was good until it wasn't, and then Love and Hip Hop Atlanta became my favorite. So I don't know, and of course, I love 90 Day Fiance. Who doesn't? I love the Housewives. I love Married to Medicine. Those are good shows, but it makes you think. It makes you wonder: are these people? Are they really being real with us? Like the Real World. Now that's another show that the Real World was real, and I think that the Real World. I think that was the first reality TV show, if I'm correct. I love the Real World. I love the Real World New York. I love the Real World. I think it was Boston. Um, the Real World Seattle. I loved all of the Real World um, franchises. They were pretty good. Another really good reality TV series was Teen Mom. I used to love Teen Mom. Teen Mom was really good. And Teen Mom came from, or was a spin off of 16 and Pregnant. That's where Teen Mom comes from. It comes from a show called 16 and Pregnant. And so I watched that. And, now I think that reality TV has just gone, I think it's just ran its course. And now these networks need to start phasing them out, because with the last season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it's just no good. The Real Housewives of New York. I didn't even watch last season. I didn't even watch. I halfway watched the episodes with Ebony in them. I think her name is Ebony Williams, Ebony K. Williams. I watched I watched The Real Housewives of New York when she was on there, but it was just so. I just did not like how Love and Hip, not Love and Hip Hop, how Real Housewives of New York. I didn't like the way the dynamic seemed to shift to a really dark place when Ebony K. Williams came on the show. I just didn't like it, and I had a feeling that some of the ladies on that show, had some issues with race or issues with black people, but it just seemed to me that when she came onto the show, that's when you began to see certain things. It was like you felt that some of the housewives on this particular show, you felt that they may be racist. But if it appeared to me that when Ebony K. Williams came onto the show, that is when things became, it was revealed that yes, there were some issues with race on that show. And I think that's the reason why Real Housewives of New York is going through some type of overhaul. Now, I have to say this because people are getting sued left and right here on YouTube. These are just my opinions. I don't know these people. These are just my opinions here in the tiny studio as a viewer. But I just feel like reality TV is just not reality TV anymore. It's just not. But do I see myself returning to soap operas? No, I don't. I'm not interested in soaps anymore. I would rather read a good book or listen to NPR, listen to All Things Considered, or listen to the Clay Kane show, or Heather B, or the Karen Hunter show over on Urban View on Sirius XM. I would rather do that than waste my time watching soaps. Now, the last time I watched an episode of The Young and the Restless happened to be when Christoph St. John made his transition, and The Young and the Restless recorded a tribute to him. I watched then because I am a huge Christoph St. John fan, and I just really hate that he went out the way he did. But I did go back to Genoa City for that. And I'm trying to think, before that happened, I watched the tribute episodes of Y&R when Catherine Chancellor died. And when she passed, well, yeah, when she passed, I believe the character passed and Mrs. Chancellor, just like Christoph passed, his character Neil Winters uh, passed as well. I watched that episode then, but after that, I just didn't feel the need to, go back to The Young and the Restless because, once again, they are insulting my intelligence with this Nikki and Victor, this not Nikki, this Nikki and Victor situation. And listen, I'll be the first person to say that marriages have their ups and downs. Of course it does. Of course, marriages aren't perfect. I understand that. But how are you going to sit back and marry the same man five, six, seven, 8 times and then divorce him? And you're divorcing him for what? For the same bullshit that you divorced him for in marriage number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time you get to marriage number 6, you should already be a seasoned person. You should already know this is what you're gonna get. What you see is what you're gonna get from Victor Newman, right? Nikki should already know that. So why are you getting all of these divorces? Doesn't make sense. And that's why I say that, soap opera writers challenge the intelligence of their viewers because it doesn't make sense. And yes, the viewers root for certain couples, of course, but we're not dummies either. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Kind of like the new season of The L Word is coming on very soon, and everyone is screaming for Bette and Tina to get back together. We want Bette and Tina back together. That's the ultimate couple. We want Bette and Tina together. And I'm like, yeah, I like Bette and Tina too as a couple. I like them. I thought they looked good together. But, let's be honest. Bette was horrible to Tina. When Bette and Tina were together, yeah, it looked fine, but Bette always treated Tina like crap. She always treated Tina like Tina could not have an opinion, could not have a voice. She treated Tina like, some type of, she wanted Tina to be a Stepford wife. Bette was terrible and is terrible in relationships. So now that we know that, why are we rooting for the both of them to get back together? That doesn't make any sense. None. And I was not surprised when the L Word came back on after being gone for, I think maybe 10 plus years, I was not surprised that Bet and Tina were not together. I was not surprised because Bet treats Tina like crap. So to hear people say, "Oh, I can't wait till it comes back on because I can't wait to see Bet and Tina back together," I have to look at you side eye because I'm saying, you know, I know this is fiction and everything, but you do recall that Bet has cheated on Tina. Bet has talked to Tina all crazy. Bet treats Tina like she's a subservient person. I mean, Bet is crazy. So no, Bet has issues. Bet needs to see a psychiatrist. Remember when Bet and Tina were supposedly going to see a counselor? As a matter of fact, I think they were seeing a psychiatrist. Bet once again, with her superior attitude, acts as if or acted as if she did not need to change. She acted as if she wasn't the one with the problem, that Tina was the one with the problem, when it was really Bet. Bet had issues. She still has issues. So, that's why I say that sometimes writers, you know, of soap operas, reality TV, or your favorite show, they do things and they write things that for the person that's viewing, it's a little insulting. Or maybe it's just me. I'm also the person who, as a kid, whenever I saw the Three Stooges, I was like, why are people laughing at the Three Stooges? This is ridiculous. Why would why would you be cool with somebody that's abusing you? Why would you be cool with somebody that every time you do something wrong, they sticking you in the eyeballs with their fingers, or they hitting you in the head with a plank, or they hitting you in the head with a hammer? What kind of a friend is that? I didn't think the Three Stooges was funny. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I am, or I have always been the person who when I'm watching something, I'm also thinking. And it's true. It's true. I was not the person that could sit back and watch the Three Stooges and laugh because I didn't think that mess was funny. I never thought that was funny. But I was also the same person who liked to watch. Um, do you remember a Sunday oldie but goodie called Blondie? It was a movie, or I guess it was a movie, a series of movies that soon became or was played on Sunday mornings. And I believe the Blondie movies came out in the 1940s or early 1950s. I'm not sure. I would have to do some research on that. But I love Blondie and Dagwood and their baby. What was their baby name? Baby Dumpling. I love those little movies. And I was the person, the little girl, who I got it. I got it. I understood it, and I thought that a lot of things that he did, that Dagwood did as a grown up, I thought it was funny. But it didn't mess with my intelligence or anything because I knew grown people who were childlike. So I knew it was a possibility. I knew that there were Dagwoods in existence. I had seen them with my own two eyes. But that's what I think about, you know, soap operas and whatnot. And so when I was in the emergency room or the waiting room, and I was sitting there crocheting and watching The Bold and the Beautiful, I said to myself, Lord, I'm so glad I don't watch this mess anymore. I'm so glad that I have found other things to do with my time because for me, I just felt like those were the people that I didn't really want to hang out with anymore. And I felt like I had outgrown it. And, you know, my husband used to always ask me, "Why do you watch soap operas? Why do you watch this mindless TV? This is some crap." And at one point, I had got him hooked on The Young and the Restless. And he was like, "I can't believe I'm up here watching this." But The Young and the Restless was a really good show. As a matter of fact, I really do believe that it's one of the few, one of, well, in my opinion, one of the only soap operas on TV right now that's really worth watching that doesn't insult your intelligence. But he also, when he was a young person, watched soap operas because we all did. Of course, like I said, you're watching, of course, all the kids back in the 80s. We watched All My Children because, on that show you had Jesse and Angie, and you had Ted, not Ted, you had Tad Martin, and you had, what was his girlfriend? And he was in love, Hillary. He was in love with that girl. You had them. You had Greg, and what was Tad's sister name? Jenny. That was all on Young and I mean on All My Children, and then One Life to Live. You had some cool stuff over there. You had what, Cordero, Tina. You had Max. You had all of them over there on One Life to Live, the young people. And then over on General Hospital, of course, you had Laura. You had the whole thing with Luke and Laura. But then on General Hospital, you had a whole lot of fantastic, out of this world sci-fi fiction going on too, which caught a lot of young people's eyes, with the Cassadines, and just a lot of espionage, because you had Luke and Laura, and then you had Luke and Holly, and you had Sean Donnelly and his wife Tiffany Hill. Remember that? And what was you had Robert Scorpio, and you had his daughter Robin, and Anna Devane, and they were doing all kind of FBI, CIA, espionage, spy stuff. You had a whole lot of cool stuff going on that was sci-fi, and it was really good. And it didn't, yeah, okay. Some of the stuff was kind of, made you be like, what? But it was cool writing. It was cool writing. I mean, who did not fall in love with Duke Lavery? The dude was a mobster. He was a killer, but he was so good looking. He was so good looking. How could you not fall in love with Duke Lavery? Duke Lavery. How could you not? Kind of like with Michael, well, with Sonny Corinthos. I remember when Sonny first came on the show on General Hospital. Loved him. Sonny, and what was his friend name? That Stone. That Robin was in love with and contracted HIV from. An episode when Stone died, that was just, heartbreaking. But that was the reality that we were living during the AIDS epidemic or pandemic. So, soap operas, they serve their purpose, I think. There were episodes that what I'm saying is, soap operas at one point in time really did reflect society, especially for women. Soap operas dealt with, women's lib, or I should say feminism. Soap operas dealt with women's rights, women's reproductive rights, such as when Erica Kane decided to get on the pill because she wasn't ready to become a mother, because she wanted to have a career. And what was her husband name? Because when he found out, he was pissed. He found her birth control pills. He was pissed. What was his name? I can't think of his name, but he eventually went on and married Brooke English. I can't think. I can see his face right now, but I cannot remember his name. Um, that's how, soap operas were. They kind of, at the time, they reflected what was going on in society, and they wasn't trying to insult your intelligence. They soap operas weren't talking down to you. Soap operas were like your friend. They were the people on the show. They were your friends. But as time went on, for me, soap operas stopped being my friend, because I feel like, hey, once you began to make me question my sanity, once you make me look like a fool, I'm going to readjust how I perceive you while I'm readjusting how I think about my or view myself. And after a while, I could not justify watching soap operas because I just felt like, it was too much. Regurgitated storylines. It's like you're reading the same book over and over and over again. It's as if you only have one book in the library. So I just stopped watching it. And that doesn't mean that I am putting down people who watch soaps. Because I have friends that never got into watching soap operas, and they always say, Now you're really. I can't believe you watch soap operas. I would think that soap operas would be a little below you. And I'm like, no, everybody loves to be entertained, right? So even though I'm not a soap opera watcher, I don't sit back and put anybody down or look at anyone sideways because they are enjoying soaps. I'm not that type of person. So, soaps are escapism, just like reality TV. When I watch um, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, that's escapism. When I watch Bling Empire on Netflix, that's escapism. When I watch Selling the OC, that's escapism for me. I'm watching something new now. I'm watching Dubai Bling, and I think it's called Buying Beverly Hills, that has Mauricio Umeski on it. That is Kyle Richards' husband. Kyle Richards from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her husband and daughters have their own show on Netflix, and it's really good. It's really good. I like it. And it seems as if everybody on the show, as of right now, are real. Because that's how it is with reality TV. Maybe the first two seasons, and I'm really stretching the second season, but it seems as if the first two seasons of a reality show, the people are real. After that, no, because people get to watch themselves on television, and they get to listen, or I should say, they listen to the critiques, and they read the reviews and the criticisms, and they become involved in the chatter on social media. And so the next season they have made changes, and that's when all these fake storylines start to come in and whatnot. Then people's noses start changing, people's faces start changing shapes and whatnot, and reality TV then becomes scripted. But I do like the reality shows on Netflix because they are just wonderfully shot. the cinematography or the videography of the reality shows on Netflix are just beautiful. Because what do you have? You have Selling OC, Selling Tampa, Buying Beverly Hills. What's the other one I'm watching? Dubai Bling, Bling Empire. Those are some really good shows. And for me, that's escapism. And they're also inspirational because I would like to live in a beautiful 6,000 square foot um, home. That's the goal. But in the meantime, I get to fantasize about it. And what's wrong with that? But like I said, by the time you get to season 3, 4, and 5, that's when of a reality TV show, that's when you realize that, you know, it ain't it ain't no good no more because people have decided to change and do whatever, and unscripted television soon evolves into scripted television. And then then you move on to something else, right? That's what you do. Well, let's see. I am on the second row of this beautiful cranberry color. Let's see, that's still the first row there. So here is the beginning of the second row. So I think that I am going to crochet a little bit more. We are 52 minutes past the hour. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed this crocheting with Nell today. And if you're new to crocheting and you're wondering what I'm doing, well, this is a granny square, and it began with this granny square pattern here, and it's becoming slowly a lapghan. And a granny square is simply um, a double crochet cluster. And what's a double crochet cluster? Well, here we are. I'll let you see. You have a loop on your hook. Now you're going to have 2 loops on your hook. And you take your hook, you insert it into the space, and then you're going to grab your yarn with the hook, and you're going to pull through, and then you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over. Now you have 4. Then you take the yarn and you pull it through 2 hoops that were on your 2 loops that were on your hook. Now you have 2. You yarn over again, you pull through all loops, and then that's your first double crochet, and then you do it again, and a third time, and that is your granny cluster. And your granny square is made up of all double crochet clusters. I have been crocheting now for full time and professionally for about 5 years. And this is the season where I crochet the bulk of the things that I am preparing to sell, which are scarves and lapgans and now tams. So I'm excited to be doing that. this year, adding tams. And I forgot crochet socks as well. So that is in my arsenal of goodies to sell this year, or this winter, fall winter season. Do you have items that you are preparing to add to your Etsy boutique, or your Shopify boutique, or your uh, your website? Which is something that I have to get back rolling again, is my website, because my website is down, and I'm going to have to put it back up, get it rolling again, so people can see my work. But as I said, I had to go on a break for a little bit because I had the knitter's elbow. And then, as I said before, my husband is ill, and my time is basically, I am concerned about him and my children, and trying to keep everybody positive and in a good frame of mind, so that we can help my husband survive the illness that he is battling. So I'm a little late on some of the orders that I get for the season, which are scarves and my crochet booties. And I believe if you go back into the Let's Crochet and Chat series, I have a few videos where I present some of my crochet booties, some of the patterns that I was working on. I'm preparing to film tutorials, just basic beginner stitches and whatnot, for those of you who have asked me to teach them how to crochet. So I'm working on that now, putting together a tutorial for people for beginner crocheters. And I haven't forgotten about you. I just want to make sure that when I put the tutorial together, that it would be something that is very, very beginner friendly, and it'll be something where I'm teaching you how to crochet, but I'm teaching you something that you can pass down to your children or to your grandchildren. Because crocheting is not, just a hobby, or a pastime, but it can also be very therapeutic. It has a very calming effect on me, and it's relaxing. My grandmother taught me how to crochet, and she crocheted a lot. And well, she crocheted and she sewed. She's a designer. So when we teach our children something like this, crocheting, sewing, any type of craft, when we teach that to our children, we're not just teaching them something, excuse me, as a hobby, but this is something that one day, if they need to fall back on it, they can fall back on it and earn a living. So that's important as well. And sure enough, I have been able to earn a living from crocheting. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here in the tiny studio today. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And remember that Crocheting with Nell comes on every Saturday afternoon. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And hopefully I will see you again for Crocheting with Nell next Saturday, and we'll chat about something else. How about that? If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so now, and also like. Because when you subscribe and you like, and when you see my videos pop up, future videos pop up, and you press that notification bell, that just lets the YouTube gods know that there are people out here watching Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. So thank you so, so, so much, and continue to have a wonderful rest of your day. And keep up with me on the Simply Nell's Tiny Studios Instagram page and the community page here on YouTube. So I will see you next time on Crocheting with Nell here in Simply Nell's Tiny Studio next week. Have a great Saturday. Bye bye.